Tim, since you're the only one in the meeting today, anything that you want to chat about, or just kind of hanging out today, or what's going on?
Yeah, there's one thing actually. So the engineering company we work with, we've been trialing the bot for over a year now. We've got a pilot project with their technical team. So they have 750 engineers, and we're going to build a bot which is going to be trained on all of the technical aspects of their equipment that they install. One of the questions they had was if they upload images of like a control panel, a physical control panel, could we train the bot somehow to recognize that image and then based off of a knowledge base give responses that we would which would help a technician fault find or recommend a part for a particular item. Is that doable yet, do you think?
Hmm. Have they or you played around with vision?
I've tried uploading images into my bots, and because it's not trained on anything yet, it doesn't really do
Uh-huh.
anything. It just says no. But when I loaded an image into a chat GPT, for example, and I just ask it, I say, "What are you seeing here?" It'll recognize a logo. It might see a brand number on there. It might see a website address on that. So it can start to relate that information back to a company, and
Hmm.
then if I dig a bit further, then sensibly it's asking for things like serial numbers and that kind of information because it's wanting to increase its context
Yeah.
uh, by questioning. So it's whether or not we could do something similar. Because again, at the end of the day, it's if an engineer can upload a quick picture and then say, "Look, I've got a problem with this button or this button," and then the bot comes back and says, "Well, that's fine, but tell us the serial number." It's a good sort of starting point.
Okay. I mean that typically I would say that that's how it could work right now with the right information and the right prompt where the AI agent would return what it sees in the image and then based off of the prompt, it could then ask the engineer further qualifying questions, so to say, like what is that serial number based off like in the prompt we could put something like, if you recognize an image of a condenser or whatever, then ask for a serial number and then use that information to then find information about it in the knowledge base. So that could work.
But the knowledge base isn't going or the bot isn't actually going to match one image up to an image that might be in the knowledge base, is it? It's not going to know that just from,
No.
just from an image
Yeah.
on our system anyway.
No. The, I mean, unless other Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, right? I don't think like the agent's gonna just
The
view the
way,
image. Go ahead.
yeah. So as far as I understand, what the way, like when you upload an image, and I do this all the time when using Cursor, the IDE basically. When I upload an image to Cursor, it doesn't obviously, or not, maybe it's not obvious, but it doesn't actually see the image. It gets a resulting text description of the image.
Yeah.
Uh, so that is what would be uploaded into the knowledge base, a description of the image, which can be handy. But if you upload another, even the same image in like a chat or something, it would receive maybe a different description at that time. It's hard to say. What do they want to do again? High level? They want to add images to the knowledge base that
If, a,
that
if an engineer goes to if an engineer goes to a site, for example, and there's a control panel as an example,
mhm.
he wants to take a picture of that control panel and go, help me fault find on this particular model by doing it through an image. I mean, I think more sensibly because they have lots of products in their portfolio, it probably is better to be done by a serial number. So it was just a question that came up in one of our sort of brainstorming sessions today.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I don't know if it would, well, obviously it wouldn't be perfect, but I mean, I do this all the time with various troubleshooting things I use AI for. Now, the caveat is sometimes it'll get things wrong. But that's true of everything. So I think it could definitely work.
Because it's an interpretation rather than an actual
Yeah.
match on serial number
Yeah.
and a document with a knowledge base and bit of information. Yeah, that's going to
Yeah.
be safe, isn't it? It's going to be the safer bit.
Yeah, and right now it just returns that text description. But what could be interesting is if we have like a sub process that uses that text description to then search the knowledge base for information.
Yeah, it's more about vision, isn't it? It's a different process, isn't it?
It
Because you're
really
asking it
is.
to look for certain, because it could be any number of type of image that could be uploaded, and from any kind of angle, with any kind of lighting, with any kind of. There's so many factors and permutations, and it's not like the old Google stuff where
Yeah.
Google was training on this is what a cat looks like, so this next image must be a cat, not a dog, kind of thing. It's looking for attributes within the image, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not what we have. We're taking an image and, as Tim suggests, converting that image into a text description of that image and then interpreting or then interrogating a knowledge base off the back of that.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. So I mean I think there are unique ways that we could take this further. But I think definitely starting with a something that's more static, like a serial number or something like that, would then allow us to eventually get to a point where they could then upload an image or yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim, go on.
No, I was just going to say, and then if we talk about this from a product perspective, the kind of the realm we're getting into with what you're describing with this particular customer is kind of some more custom stuff for them, which is certainly possible. But will you be able to take these things? You'd have to charge them more for this, right? Because this would be custom development kind of stuff specific to their use case. And could you find more customers that this can support? Possibly. But these things are definitely possible. It's just, can you find more of these people? Does it make sense to do it, or will they support the cost needed to kind of custom develop it?
I suppose something which is sort of similar but different, but in the world of e-commerce, if I was to upload I don't know, a t-shirt with an emblem on it and say, "Do you have this in stock?" It's that kind of thing. That's the
Yeah.
database, the knowledge base would have to know the look and feel of every emblem on every t-shirt and whether or not the t-shirt was black, red, green, whatever.
That has worked in the past. So I did one for like our Stammer hats. I had it connected to well, I had I had the Shopify site scraped. So like, I think shop.sty. So I had these hats and then I uploaded an image of this Delve hat. I was like, is this in stock? And because Vision recognized that this is a hat and that it had the word Delve in it, it then was able to go and see that it was in stock because it first recognized what is in the image and then took actions after the fact.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible, and I think this is that very simplified use case of that. But that did work in the past. I do have an example of that somewhere. I think when we talk about like more engineering stuff, then that could be
It's a lot more of a technical database
yeah, 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 because
and
it's
a bit more mission critical than buying a cap.
a little bit, just a bit, yeah.
Similar, another thing that came out of that conversation today as well was so on the technical side, we've got effectively two technical bots. We've got one bot that knows everything about installation and repair of equipment, and then we've got another bot which knows some of that, but is also more tuned to an internal sales function. And the question was, can the two functions run within the same bot, or would they need separate bots, or could one bot interrogate two different knowledge bases, depending on the type of question that's being asked?
Two different. No, got it. And what is it actually querying? Because I
So
mean, we
again,
could definitely add a functionality to do that. I mean,
one would be a person sat in a desk, maybe on a phone, answering technical queries, where the other use case is the guy is using the same bot, but he's actually on the site with a piece of equipment and he's asking similar questions, but from a different viewpoint in terms of, he wants to fix a problem there, whereas the salesperson's maybe inquiring about stock on a particular item or answering a customer query on something.
got it. Yeah,
Should they use different databases, or could they use essentially the same database and maybe have a custom function in there that then says, if this type of question is asked, You could ask a qualified question, couldn't you? Are you a technician on site? Boom, we're going to
You
use
could.
this knowledge base.
I would use two separate bots, and I'll tell you why. Because as I've said before, like the more logic and complexity you add to the base system prompt, the more likely things are to kind of go wrong. So it's better to make the agents specialized and just keep things as simple as possible because what we've seen before is people will, create a lot of logic that often kind of will start conflicting as far as logic goes in the prompt, and that's where issues start to happen. So if it's possible, now because that use case could easily support having different bots, right? You can send the sales guys to one, you can send the other guys to the different one. Now it gets more complicated when you have one point of entry, like a single website page, and you need to support multiple use cases. I could see that needing some more complex logic to route it to a different knowledge base. Yeah.
Could you have one bot interrogate another bot or another bot's knowledge
Yeah.
via a custom function?
Yeah, absolutely. You could have it literally talk to a different bot and get responses from that. I'm trying to find the time to build an example that does that. Um, but yes, you absolutely could.
Cool. Okay. So the two bots could work independently, but through a custom function might be able to talk to each other.
Yeah, you could deploy a custom function that's essentially a middleware to that platform we always talk about, rebelit.com.
Yeah.
And it would just one bot would think of it as a function it calls and it gets a response from, and that middleware would then kind of sit in between and just get the response from that other bot. Eventually, we may build that in to where there's a built-in function to call other bots.
Yeah, and that was early concepts of what could be a master chat where you could select multiple agents, but the use cases for that have not been so prevalent that we've taken actions or steps towards that yet.
Yeah,
Okay. One last question. How are you getting on with voice?
We should
it's going
have,
good. Yeah,
yep, go ahead.
we've got the back end infrastructure that we're in place to do it, and we're testing things out. Ross, do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, we finally figured out how we're gonna solve for the issue that every person selling voice is going to come across at some point, which is call caps, concurrency limits, and how that is all priced out. So
Yeah, and Ross and I have debated this, but I don't think concurrency is big of an issue. And we were talking to an actual customer of ours yesterday, and for the customers they're targeting, concurrency is not a big issue. Like my fiance's dental office, like it's not like they're getting 50 calls
yeah.
like at once. They're never getting more than one call at once usually. Anyway, sorry, keep going, Ross.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that will cover 60s. That'll probably be, that'll follow the 80/20 rule as well. That being said,
Right.
in that same call, he was like, we also have a call center that we're looking to deploy to. And in those scenarios, we need a way to be able to offer higher limits without charging a ton of money upfront, which is what every form on the market currently does. And we figured out a way to be able to scale that affordably based off of usage. So instead of charging I mean, in some cases we were getting quoted, you know, $50,000 up front in order to get higher concurrency limits. We can offer it basically as like as an addition we're targeting like $10 to $15 per month per additional concurrency call call of concurrency. And the reason why this is important is when you look at other platforms that are on the market, it's all account based. So you as the agency owner have a limit of the amount of concurrent calls that you have available to you at your account level. Whereas we're going to be trying to focus and target it in on the per phone number, which is slightly different. So if you get a couple dentist offices, like let's say we would give you 10 concurrent calls in your account and you had five dentist office at two concurrent calls per each, then that's totally fine. That would work. But let's say you have the want or the need or the ability to sell to a call center or somebody that has the need for 50. The options right now out there are all going to push you towards a super expensive enterprise plan. where in our case it would just we would just charge you an extra $10 per additional concurrent call, which you can then obviously upsell and rebill to your clients accordingly.
Like a per seat plan.
Like a yes, kinda. Yeah, exactly. And that will facilitate the ability for us to scale the resources managing the calls without having to quote unquote like purchase new GPUs, every time a new customer signs up.
Yeah.
But to other Tim's point, we we did have a really good call with one of our existing customers who is already selling voice, and they mentioned that most of their customers fall under this three concurrent calls limit. So we're probably going to start in between the one and three default, and then we're not going to have any hourly or daily call caps. That will just all be based on usage. And everything else will work the same: knowledge base, function calling, lead data extraction, summaries. You'll have the ability, or we're going to launch with, I believe, 4.0 and 4.0 mini, but eventually you'll be able to select the different model, which will adjust the price per minute of the call and the latency and the quality and all that type of stuff too. So.
I'm still hooked up with 11 Labs, yeah?
And it'll still have the end output will be through 11 Labs, so the quality of the voices will still be very high, which will be nice. And then I think eventually we'll be looking towards some other voice uh, or audio providers as well. But 11 Labs seems to be the one with that we're getting the feedback of the highest quality.
Cool. And this is for inbound right now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, again, we'll start with the inbound use case, and then as long as we don't see any problems scaling that out, then we'll look towards going outbound. And the main reason why is every person that I've talked to with outbound, their first question is some version of, "Oh, I have 100,000 leads. Can we just call them all immediately?" And we're like, well, kind of no, not really. And a lot of that is due to misconceptions about cold calling and the legality around all of that. But with outbound, the very specific use case will be if somebody has opted in some fashion, then that would allow the system to then call them.
Mhm.
We probably won't be allowing people to just upload a massive database or list of people to just sequentially call. Sure, there will be people will find workarounds for that, but we're trying to make it so that way everybody's, falling into the correct legal buckets, so to speak. So,
Good. Thank you.
yeah. Soon, see you just joined. How you doing?
Hi everyone. I'm good.
Hi.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm late. I'm so sorry. I missed most everything. So I'm sure you probably talked about the voice agent.
Yep, we're just chatting about that right as you joined.
Okay. I do see a lot of what is it called? New agents in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one that I haven't looked at it entirely, but it's an e-commerce one where you can track the order number.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know that was possible. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually the one of the examples that I've got set up right here. The way that the voice side of things will be done is essentially copying exactly how we've implemented it via chat. So in the same conversation flow, if a user asks to get their tracking, then the AI agent would respond with, hey, can you send me a piece of identifying information, whether that's your email or your order number, or if the e-commerce store is collecting their phone number at checkout, that could be a way that is like automatically we could like check on the incoming phone number, things like that. But the flow, the high level flow is still the same. Like, I want to find my order. Where is it? And then the AI agent asks for a piece of information. The user responds. The agent then takes that piece of information and calls a function to a specific Shopify store, which has the endpoint to allow the agent to gather that information. And then it would then compile that information, return it back to the user, and then the user would be able to hear where where it's at.
So only Shopify integration.
Uh,
You
In
any
theory, anything that,
any platform that would allow for a connection to it. So Shopify is very open with their API and it makes it very
Right.
easy for us to integrate. But like Tim said, basically we have not locked down our platform. It's always up to the other platform. And as
Right.
long as that other platform has an available API, our system can connect with it no matter what.
So FedEx, get a tracking number from like a FedEx.
Yeah, yeah,
yes, most likely.
most likely that could work. When we use the Shopify endpoint, Shopify consolidates all of that into their own system. So it doesn't matter if it's being shipped with USPS or FedEx or whatever. It'll, like, for example, in this example right here, when I click, it brings you to myorders.co, which is Shopify's internal tracking platform, and they consolidate all of the carriers into this one place. So that's one of the also the useful things about Shopify is they kind of do a lot of that work for us.
Okay. So my e-commerce client
Hmm.
would love, to be able to have their customer do a search for, like their order number. And of course, my response was like, well, we don't have that. That would require some integration. And I'm thinking it was custom code.
Are they using Shopify?
No,
Oh, okay, gotcha. Do you know what platform they're using?
no, it's no.
Okay,
I think the last time I had this conversation, I was supposed to find out. I did not.
gotcha. Well, yeah, that would be kind of just the base question for one quick second. Tim, if you want to drop, can you start the support call? I'll hop there in a minute.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you. Let me drop and join
Yeah.
that.
So Kasoon, whenever I talk with customers about this, like the immediate thing that I go and look for is to like I'll just do this type of search. I'll just search whatever platform they're using and then space API. And if
Mhm.
they have something like this where it allows us to see the documentation of how a platform can actually connect with that third party platform, then it's very obvious or it's very clear that it will be able to connect. And we're always looking for these options like a post request or a get request. These are all called HTTP requests, and this is how we can get a URL from one of these places and then be able to use this information to then put it into here to then get the agent talking to this system.
Okay.
And I know this all looks confusing. I mean, it's confusing even to me, but essentially like they give us these URLs like this, and then that's the URL that we place into here. And so a lot of the time it's just trying to massage the existing, like what they're giving us here into the system over here. And in the past, I've like literally taken screenshots from these platforms and then put that into ChatGPT with a screenshot of the Stammer dashboard and be like, help me put all this together. And then it will walk me through the steps, being like, oh, you need to copy this URL and paste it into this box, and then yada yada.
Yeah. I've learned so much from you with regards to that. I mean, I built my own calculator
Oh, nice.
based on you were like, oh, you can prompt GPT to give you that. I was like,
Oh, right
really?
on. That's great.
And so yes, I was able to do that. And of course the developers are like, how did you do that? I'm like, I got my sources. All right.
You're a vibe coding
Thank you.
master.
I'm gonna be dangerous.
Love it.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna hop on the other call. I don't want to hold you guys up. I do have a question
Okay.
about integration with LinkedIn. I don't know if anybody be interested about that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'll hop over there in a minute. Tim or other Zoom user, any other questions?
No, I'm good, Ross. Thanks for the update.
Cool.
I'll
Oh,
keep you
it's
in mind.
Lucas. All good. All right. Well,
Excellent.
yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Thank you so much,
Cheers.
Ross.
Bye.